TFA fam, thank you for joining us on this fine Sunday morning. Hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. Couple of questions already queued up in the chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and start dropping them in. I do just want to touch on the injury news for Week 12 and then a weather game that we need to be paying attention to. But the inactives and doubtfuls for today are Raheem Mostert, Jerry Jeudy, Leonard Fournette, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, Mike Williams, Rondell Moore, Greg Dortch also unlikely to go. Matt Stafford, apparently Matt Stafford might not play the rest of the year. I think at this point they just shut him down. Justin Fields unlikely to play. Allen Robinson looks like he's not going to go. Kadarius Toney as well. And then the guys who we are expecting to play: Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, Deebo Samuel, Gerald Everett, Marquise Brown was activated off of IR. Juju Smith-Schuster looks good to go, and Gus Edwards. The weather game to pay attention to, and if you needed any other excuse to not play anybody from this game, here it is. Chicago at the Jets. Looks like it's going to be heavy rain all game, and the rain is going to get heavier as the game goes on. Just some other ones to touch on. Looks like we're going to have some brief showers at the beginning of the Jacksonville game, but it looks like that is the wind especially is going to die down as the game goes on. Tampa Bay at Cleveland, looks like scattered showers. Winds will be sustained 10 to 15 with gusts over 25, but it looks like that is going to be arriving late, so that's another one to pay attention to. Cincinnati at Tennessee, looks like that's going to be fine. Denver at Carolina just has some slight winds. It is raining here right now, but it is slow. And then the Atlanta at Washington game as well. Looks like a lot of that rain is going to become before the game, and then the winds and the rain is going to die down as the game goes on. Hopefully that's all the news that we get. Let's go ahead and dive into these questions. We got Mike leading us off. We need to pick two out of Kamara, Aaron Jones, Rachaad White, Dameon Pierce, Pacheco, or Miles Sanders. This is a PPR. Have an early lead projected to win by 30 after Thursday's games. It's a nice start.
I think I would go Aaron Jones and Rachaad White here.
I'm going to go Rachaad White and Miles Sanders. I think Sanders is safer. Like Kamara, we know he has that, 4 touchdown game ceiling, but we just haven't seen it much from him. I think Sanders is a safer play. If you're up by 30, projected to win, I think I would just roll with Sanders, but we're definitely locking in Rachaad White in that matchup without Leonard Fournette. Maddie, woo! Monty or Carter?
I'm going to go with Carter. He's a little bit harder to trust just because of the type of weather this is going to be. And really what is most exciting about him was, with Mike White and all the targets that he saw last year from him. I think it was like 37 in 4 games or something ridiculous. But with this type of weather, but you could see them, utilizing the running backs more in the passing game if they have to, short dump offs and stuff like that. So the Jets defense is really good, like really good. I'm not going to play Monty, so I think it's Michael Carter.
Yeah, I think I lean Carter here as well. But Maddie, is there anybody else we could potentially get in there instead of these two? But yeah, I'm with Kev here. I'm going to lean Carter. CVB, good morning to you. Pick one running back, one wide receiver, and a flex. So looking at Patterson, Rachaad White, P. Ryan, Ayuk, Kirk, DPJ, and a full PPR. So that is going to be Rachaad White for both of us at running back. At wide receiver, I'm going to put Kirk and Ayuk in the flex.
Yep, I agree.
I know people are going to be, debating on P. Ryan today, but it is not a great matchup for him going up against Tennessee. So I'm sure we're going to get some questions, and I'm sure I'm going to lean not P. Ryan on those later. Mike Sproul still alive in the guillotine. Let's go. Starting Taylor at running back. I need one more between Jacobs, Jones, or Connor and a half PPR. Ooh.
James Conner has the best matchup here, but I'm not sitting Josh Jacobs. I know he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury concern there with him, but Josh Jacobs just sees way too much work to move past him, and it's still a really good matchup against Seattle. Seattle still allows the 5th most fantasy points, 12th most rushing yards on the season. They also really get gashed through the air through running backs, 4th most receiving yards, 12th most receiving touchdowns. They're kind of middle of the road, 17th in rush DVOA on the year. But Josh Jacobs, second in opportunity share among all running backs, averaging over 22 touches per game, almost averaging 100 yards per game, and almost 20 fantasy points. So I can't sit Josh Jacobs, even though James Conner's in a great spot. I'm playing Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go Jacobs there as well. And then if for whatever reason, if we hear anything like, hey, he might be limited, didn't look great in warm-ups, you can obviously just pivot over to Connor because like you were saying, Kev, I really like the spot that Connor is in today as well. Emilio, with Chase out, is Higgins a must start over Keenan Allen and Josh Palmer and Allen Lazard?
Yeah, I like him more than all those guys, but I do really like Keenan Allen and Josh Palmer. But I would go T. Higgins over both of them, especially with Chase out.
Yeah, I would rank them in the order that you have them listed here, Emilio. Our guy Raven rocking with us, Herbert or Jimmy G. That's going to be Herbert for me.
Exactly, yeah.
Crip, Moreau or Njoku full PPR, thinking Njoku might be on a snap count.
So with this one, I don't think Njoku's going to be on a snap count. It's more about the weather in this game. Early week, I was loving this Buccaneers game, this Buccaneer Brown game, but it feels like the weather in this game could go either way. Right now, they're saying 10 to 15 mile an hour sustained winds with 25 mile an hour gusts. But there's some other projections out there that have looked at it. It depends on when the rain comes. If the rain comes early, then you're looking at probably 20 to 25 mile an hour winds with 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts, which we know anything over 20 miles an hour, you want to avoid the passing game on. But right now, it doesn't look bad, but it could go either way. I just think Foster Moreau's at a really good spot. The Seahawks are terrible against opposing tight ends. They have been gashed all year by tight ends, and it just makes for a better spot. I think Moreau is the much safer play, and it probably maybe even has a higher ceiling just based off game scripts and everything else, because that has one of the highest totals on the slate of games today, the Raiders and Seahawks game. So I would just go Moreau. I think he makes the most sense between the two of them.
Then this is just selfishly for myself while we're talking about Foster Moreau. Do you like Moreau or Logan Thomas better for DFS today?
Moreau. Moreau is going to be more highly owned, but it depends on kind of the contest you're playing. If it's
cash. It's just a $200 difference on FanDuel between the two.
Yeah, I would go Moreau.
But after talking about Njoku, I remembered I had him in my cash lineup that I built earlier in the week, so I need to pivot off that.
Yeah.
Lupe, good to see Lupe in here. We haven't seen you for a while. Hope you've been doing well. Najee or Jacobs in a PPR? That is going to be Jacobs for both of us, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I do like Najee. He's starting to come on a little bit, but there's no shot. It's Jacobs.
And Jaylen Warren has been ruled out. I didn't throw that up on the graphic, but he has been officially ruled out with that hamstring injury. Guillotine League, same team for Mike. Lamb already played. Need one more between Cooper or Evans. Man, Mike, in a Guillotine League, can we get somebody different in with the weather in this game? I mean, I would probably lean Evans, but is there someone else we can plug in? You should have some options, being where we are in the schedule in a Guillotine League.
Yeah, I think you go Evans if you have to, just because of his involvement usually in the red zone. I think makes from a decent play, even if they get close. But it worries me because he is more of the deep threat, where Chris Godwin I think is a much better spot in short and intermediate passing. But yeah, if I had to choose, I would go Mike Evans.
Yeah. What should I do with Dalvin Cook for next week? Coming from Raylan, I have Swift and Williams on my bench.
Man, I haven't even got through this week. Let me see.
I mean, I'm starting him. I'm not even questioning Cook over Swift. Like that to me isn't even a discussion.
No.
So I mean,
the looks like the Vikings got the Jets, Lions got the Jags, but still, yeah, you're still playing Dalvin Cook.
yeah. Andrea, good morning. Good morning to you. Need 2 Olave, Pittman, Palmer, Juju, and a PPR playing Mahomes and Kelsey. You're just going full Chiefs onslaught here?
I think I would go Palmer and Pittman. I think the concern here is that this Rams team is going to be really bad.
Yeah.
Like we had this scenario
potentially
play out
packing it in.
Yeah, we had the situation playing out a couple weeks ago, kind of with the Titans game when they played the Titans, but they at least they had Derrick Henry to fall back on, right? Because it was Malik Willis, no wide receivers. Chiefs were heavy favorites, but at least, like I said, they had Derrick Henry. Where the Rams don't have that. The Rams have Cam Akers, and there's a pretty substantial drop off from Derrick Henry to Cam Akers. So like they don't have any Allen Robinson, no Matt Stafford. No Cup. Like this is a really bad situation right now. Their applied point total for the week is 13. So I just don't know if the Chiefs are going to have to do a whole lot. The Chiefs are a type of team that they could build a quick lead, and then they'll let off the gas, and then they'll just cruise the rest of the game from there. So if the Rams can't push anything and the Rams just get annihilated, I would much rather go. If this is a different type of game, like this is next week against the Bengals, I would put Juju in there all day. But Juju and Kelsey kind of redundant in the way they utilize them both. So I'm not sitting Kelsey. So in this situation, I'm not sitting or I'll sit Juju and go with the 2 other options I feel like better about. And I like Pittman and I like Palmer. Both are in really good spots this week. So those are the 2 that I would go with.
I agree. I mean, I think if you need the boom bust, Olave is interesting over Pittman. Like I definitely don't want to sit Palmer. Especially now with Kyler Murray being active. Like I really like that game. Marquise Brown coming back as well. But I will go Pittman and Palmer as well. Good morning to you, Raylan. Daniel rocking with us. Would you bench Garrett Wilson for Brandon Cooks due to rain in New York? Yes. Daniel, do you have any other options outside of Brandon Cooks? Just curious. We need 2 here for Andrea between Pierce, Rashad, and Murray. Man.
I've gone back and forth. I've gone back and forth all week on Dameon Pierce. Like you don't run against Miami, right? You beat them through the air. And Dameon Pierce, like if he doesn't score a touchdown, like he's going to be probably not that great. But because I'm deciding between the same thing in my own. Like I have him and I have Pacheco, and I'm like, and I know there's a couple questions in here, but I think that are similar too. And I keep going back and forth on which side to go with. Dameon Pierce, I think, is interesting, but I also think he could score 6 today. Like it could go either way because he has been really explosive. He breaks a lot of tackles. Like he could break off a touchdown, but it's just not a great spot. But Latavius Murray, it looked initially like he was going to be in this great spot, because they cut Melvin Gordon. But I can't remember who it was. But yesterday, one of the Broncos beat reporters said that Marlon Mack is going to be a lot more involved than what people are expecting. And so I don't think Latavius is in as good of a spot as what we thought he was going to be. And so I think Dameon Pierce and Rachaad White would be the 2 I'd go with.
Yeah. Just so hard to trust Latavius Murray. You know what I mean? Like, even if he was looking at the majority of the touches, like that's still like hasn't been great. So I'm with you. I'm gonna go Pierce there and kind of just hope that he rips off a couple chunk runs. I was trying to look at missed tackles. The Dolphins defense has missed 50, and it's kind of like middle of the road. The most is the Cardinals with 63, and the least is the Giants actually at 29. So, trying to find some other metric to make you feel better about playing Dameon Pierce today. But like I said, Dolphins have missed 50. Right above them is the Ravens at 51. Right below them is the Pats at 49. So still going Pierce, though. Mike, should I still start Aaron Jones if I have the Eagles D, or should I pick up the Colts, Steelers, or Bears?
I don't really think any of the options you have are great. Those three options, like I'm not playing that. I don't want to play really any defense. I like the Jets initially looked like fantastic, especially with Justin Fields likely being out. But if this game is going to be as bad as what it sounds like, there's not going to be much opportunities for turnovers. You're not going to see a lot of throwing. So interceptions, pick sixes, all that kind of stuff are going to be kind of off the table. Sure, there could be a fumble or something like that. You're probably not going to have as many opportunities for sacks either. And so they don't become nearly as interesting. I know Mike White's starting on the other side, so maybe that's where you get with the Bears, but the game just doesn't really profile as that. And the Eagles defense, they've had some tough matchups, and they still tend to put up, at least a decent amount, right? They're not putting up like 20, but they have a lot of games, where they're still able to get you 7, 8, 9 fantasy points. And with the defense, I'll take that all day. I don't feel that comfortable with Colts or Steelers. And then I already talked about the Bears. So,
yeah. I'm with you. Noel, need to pick one to start in my flex in a full PPR, looking at Lockett, Ayuk, Pacheco, and Latimer.
I'm going to go the first two. Especially with Debo banged up.
We only need one.
Oh, okay. Was I reading ahead? I guess I'm. Oh, well, if we're only going one, I'm going to go Lockett.
Yeah, I like Lockett there as well. Bucks or Steelers? I'm going to go Steelers here. We know that Colts offensive line has not been good. TJ Watt's back. They have been getting pressure. I just think we probably have a better opportunity for sacks and turnovers with the Steelers than we do with the Bucks.
Yeah, I agree. And for what it's worth, Jacoby Brissett's actually played pretty well. In this stint of without Deshaun Watson. Honestly, this is his last game. With Deshaun Watson coming back next week, but yeah, I agree. I'd go Steelers.
Perry, Commanders or Chiefs D?
This is 1,000% Chiefs. Like there's the Chiefs, and then there's a substantial drop off to every other defense this week with the way this game sets up, right? Like it would be shocking if somehow the Rams were able to score a lot of points or do anything like that, right? Like they're in such a bad spot. They're going to get behind. They're going to force them to throw. The quarterback they have running out there is nobody we're concerned with. They have no weapons. Like their offensive line is terrible, and so their defense should be able to rack up a lot of sacks. Like pick six is definitely in the range of possibility today. It's the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's the Chiefs. And then Kmet Hurst or Dulcich?
I'm going to go Hayden Hurst. Really like him in this game against the Titans.
Going Hurst as well. Just looking at the numbers here. PPR points per game. Titans giving up the 9th most to tight ends, and the Panthers the 21st. I mean, it's actually only a 3-point difference between the two, but I do like the spot that Hurst is in as well. TN just doing TN type things. The GOAT, the OG, the 101. TN, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you got to enjoy your cranberry sauce. Standard League, tight end, Higbee or Hurst?
Well, for everything we just talked about, it's possible Higbee gets kind of peppered with targets here because they don't have anybody else to throw the whole lot else to throw the ball to. Backup quarterback tends to lean on the tight end, but I'm still going to go Hayden Hurst. I think that game profiles really well, and he's talked about, so I'm going to go Hurst.
Yeah, I'm going to lean Hurst here as well. HP, our guy Patel, rocking with us. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Same to you, my man. Would you go Pierce or Pacheco in a full PPR? What's it going to be, Kev?
I know. I'm like I said, I'm still making that same decision myself. I think I would still go Pierce. There's a lot better. I think there's a lot more. You can expect better volume from Pierce, right? The Chiefs they're not going to just run the ball to run the ball. Like, it doesn't matter game script wise. Andy Reid just has a fetish for the passing game, you know. And like I said, how similar this game was. Like, if you look at the Titans game that they played, like if you go back, kind of look at that same way, Chiefs threw the ball 68 times that game. They didn't run the ball. They just completely like abandoned it because the Titans are excellent against the run. Same situation. Rams really good against the run. I see the Chiefs throwing the ball more than they do lead on the run, and so I would go Dameon Pierce. I can see the upside for Isaiah Pacheco here if he can break off a long run. He is explosive, and if they get up in the second half, but I could also see if they get a big lead in the second half, them just putting in maybe possibly Ronald Jones, and not going as much with Pacheco because they're going to try to get out of this game as healthy as possible when you have probably their biggest game left on their schedule next week against the Bengals.
Who's been getting the red zone touches between McKinnon and Pacheco, obviously with Clyde out?
Well, the problem is, it's usually more McKinnon, but the problem is they throw the ball, when they get down to the red zone. Like, I think they're like second or third in red zone pass attempts this year. Like, they just throw the ball. Like, they don't really line up and try to punch it into the end zone with the running back. So,
okay. Well, since you're the one that has to make the decision, we're going to go ahead and jump over to Brandon's super chat. Appreciate you, my man. Kirk, Olave, or Evans at the flex in a full PPR?
I'm going to go Christian Kirk. I'd love to go Mike Evans here, but like I said, just that weather, like, I don't want to mess with it and then, be left with 2 for 20 because they don't throw the ball very much because of this projected weather they could possibly have. So Christian Kirk, really good spot. I'm going to go Kirk.
Like, putting Evans on the bench never feels great. But I agree with you. I don't really want to mess around with the weather. Sorry, I was reloading the Roto Grinders page to see if anything had changed, but it's still graded as yellow. Appreciate you, Brandon. Thank you so much. Anyone else who's rocking with us, if you have yet to do so, please hit us with a sub and a like. Very much appreciated on our road to 4K here at the TFA YouTube channel. Devonta Smith, Duvernay, or Paris Campbell here for Perry?
I'm going to go Devonta Smith.
I like Campbell this week, but I still have Devonta Smith ranked ahead of Campbell. So I agree with you there. Moving on to Richard Hernandez. Full PPR, need a running back and a flex so the running back is between Perine and Latavius. We're definitely going to flex Boyd because we're not going to flex 2 of these running backs.
Yeah, I would go Latavius here. I do not like. I know like especially I know we're not talking about DFS, but there's a lot of like hype around about Samaje Perine and DFS. There's a lot of ownership coming on him. I don't get it at all. Like, the Titans are really good against the run. Now, sure, he could get there maybe a little bit through the passing game, but yeah, I would rather just go Boyd and Latavius. I think both are in better spots. Like Perine, I get it, he's starting, but it's not a great matchup. Titans have been the best run defense in the league this year. No thanks.
Panthers giving up the 6th most PPR points per game to running backs, and the Titans are down at 29th. His Fields were starting. He's not going to play. So, Noel, you're going with Jimmy G. So here we go from Mike, wondering if he had better options. Prescott, Hurts, Jacobs, Taylor. And Mike, do you just have a limited bench? What's available for you on waivers? Just curious. This is my long hair, don't care look anime. Just letting it go. I need a haircut real bad. It's starting to get long, so I'm just letting it air out beforehand. Curls for the girls. Katie loves it. She hates it. Broncos or Ravens defense for Graham? I'm going Broncos.
Yeah.
Truth. Happy Sunday to you as well. Starting Debo with a hamstring injury over Kamara at the flex.
I think I would go Kamara.
I'm still going to go Debo. Apparently, this is something that he's been playing through. I think he's more volatile than Kamara. Even without the hamstring injury, we've seen some big games from Debo. We've seen him kind of get shut out a little bit as well, especially with McCaffrey now joining the team. But I'm still going to go Debo here. Marshawn Lattimore still out for the Saints. And then just to piggyback off of that real quick, defensive guys we have out. I forgot to mention we went over the injuries at the beginning of the show. Chase Young was expected to maybe return this week, but he has an illness. He's out. Derek Stingley out for Houston. Greg Newsome out, which doesn't really, isn't as big of an impact now with the weather in that game. Byron Murphy out as well, and then Sheldon Rankins out for the Saints. But yeah, I would still go Debo over Kamara. Sorry, we couldn't really help you out there. Truth Live Creation rocking with us once again. Juwan Johnson or Gesicki? I'm going to go Juwan.
Yeah.
JT, ETN, Jeff Wilson, Algier. We need 2. Kev.
It's JT and Jeff Wilson.
There it is.
Yeah. I mean, Jeff Wilson is just in such a good spot. They're facing the worst run defense, or they're facing the worst run defense in the league. I mean, it's possible we could see the Texans give up close to 3,000 yards rushing this year. Like, it's not hyperbole. Like, they've been so incredibly bad against the run, which makes their passing numbers against them look like a lot of people have been talking about that this week about like how the Texans have been better against the pass. I'm like, well, I don't think it's really the problem. I think it's they've just been so bad against the run that team's just like, oh, well, we're just going to run the ball down your throat. We're just not going to throw the ball as much. So
getting behind in games.
Yeah. And so no Raheem Mostert, like sitting ETN scares me because we've seen his ceiling. He could give 25, 30 fantasy points, but it just matchup based, like the Ravens have been really good against the run. And so it's not as good of a matchup for ETN. It is good news though that because they did bring in Darrell Henderson, but he is not going to play today. So that is good news for him. But I just can't sit Jeff Wilson knowing how good of a matchup that sits in front of him. And he's been really good with Raheem Mostert there. I mean, he's averaging over 100 yards per game, a touchdown per game, and almost 20 fantasy points per game. That was in the games that he's played with Miami, and that was with Raheem Mostert. Now you don't have Raheem Mostert. I don't think you're going to see a lot of like Myles Gaskin or anything like that. And so, it's I'm not sitting Jeff Wilson if I can help it.
Yeah. Andrea, love you as well. Chris, should I drop McKinnon for Gus Edwards?
No, I think I'd rather have McKinnon. I know there's this this want for Gus Edwards to be something that he really hasn't been this year. Like I know he's limited sample size, but like this offense hasn't been very good for the Ravens this year at all. And J.K. Dobbins is going to be back sooner rather than later. And then when that happens, I mean, you're talking like a 3-way committee here. And so I don't get the appeal with Gus Edwards that a lot of people seem to have for him. Like I know, before his injury, he was looking like, he looked really good and all that stuff, but it's a different situation now. I mean, he's coming off a major injury. Expecting him to, be any sort of major contributor, I think is a little far-fetched in this offense. So I would go with McKinnon where it's much more narrow between the Chiefs and, where you really only have 2 running backs. It's Pacheco, McKinnon. McKinnon handles all the third down work, pass catching work. So if it's a PPR, McKinnon makes so much more sense than Gus Edwards does.
Yeah, I'm glad you threw in that little mention there at the end in terms of the league format, because I was gonna mention that before we moved on to this question. Is Odell still worth the stash? I would not. It is now that we just got a report that it is looking like that he will not be playing until the end of December. So at that point, I mean, you're talking about him playing at the end of December. We have what, 5 weeks left anyway. So I I wouldn't. I would, unless like you're in a deeper league or a deeper bench, and that spot isn't going to be quote unquote burned. I Whatever, you can throw him on your bench if you have a deeper bench, but in any of these leagues where you have like 5 bench spots, I'm not putting Odell in one of those.
I wouldn't. I don't think I would stash him at all. Like if I wanted to stash somebody, I'd rather stash Jameson Williams than I'd rather stash Odell Beckham, right? Because Odell Beckham, like I've said, like this was with a thought process that he was going to be signed, ready to go, like by now, like because he's been cleared for a little bit now. But at this point, no, he's absolutely worthless. Like for him to come in, catch on, learn the offense, be integrated, it's going to take a lot of time. So if he's not going to be ready until in December, anyways, like he's a zero. Like there's no even point in even talking about it. I wouldn't waste my time or a bench spot. I don't care if you had 10 bench spots. I still wouldn't do it.
Who is your Super Bowl matchup prediction here? Raylan would like to know.
I think it's the Chiefs. There's no bias there. There's really not. Like I tend to try to not pick the Chiefs just because like I feel like I'm gonna jinx it or something. So, but they're just like clearly the best team in the AFC, and the NFC. I don't know. Like I think it could go a number of different directions. Like I think the Eagles are in the conversation for sure. I don't think the Vikings are. I know they've been really good. They've been up and down, but I think and I really could see. I think it's the 49ers and then the Bucks. I think are the 3 teams that I think that have the best shot. Possibly the Cowboys. I know I'm just throwing everybody out there, but if I had to nail it down, I think it's the 49ers. I think they're going to continue to get more and more healthy on their defense, which the defense has already been pretty good with Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Debo, George Kittle. Like we've seen it before that Jimmy Garoppolo has been good enough to get them there. And so I think we could see a rematch of a couple of years ago, Chiefs 49ers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. I know we had this question maybe like 2 weeks ago. I did say the Bills, but I don't know, man. I've not been impressed with the way they've been playing. Especially if this injury to Josh Allen is going to be something he's just gonna have to deal with the rest of the season. That does not set up well either. So I'm with you. I'm back on the Chiefs, and then the 3 teams you mentioned: Niners, Eagles, Bucks. And I will say, let's get a matchup. Let's get a rematch going again. Let's go Bucks. Chris says, I have the Chiefs defense this week. Do you keep them the rest of the season? I don't think the Chiefs defense is a defense you need to hold on to. I'd probably, depending on what waiver options you have, and that video will be coming out from us Monday or Tuesday. But pay attention to that. I don't think that's a team, because it's not like the Chiefs defense has like necessarily been a strong fantasy defense. I think they've struggled in terms of getting turnovers, if I'm remembering correctly. But this week they're obviously a fantastic play. But I don't think that's one where like you just close your eyes and forget about it the rest of the season. There's certainly going to be defenses that are in better spots going forward.
You are 100% correct. They do not get turnovers. Now, don't get me wrong. After this Bengals game, week 13, they get the Broncos, which we know how bad the Broncos offense has been. And then they get the Texans right after that. And then I believe they get the Seahawks. Yeah, week 16 is the Seahawks, which, it's at home. That's the Christmas Eve game. And then they close out with the Broncos again. So they have some really good matchups coming up for them. But, yeah, I don't think they're a defense that you have to just, hold on to, because they just do not turn the ball over at all.
Mini Jordan, Jimmy G, Matt Ryan, or Brady. because of the weather, I'm going to lean Jimmy G.
I think I'm still going to go Brady. It's close between those two. They're very similar.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the worry with Jimmy G is that they get up and they don't really need to throw. But then with it's definitely not Matt Ryan. Then obviously the worry with Brady is the weather. I'm going to lean Jimmy G. I think it's just a little bit safer, but Jimmy and Brady would be super close for me. Nightlife. Murray, Monty, Pierce, we need 2.
I'm going to sit Monty.
Agreed. Truth, I already asked, but want to make sure. Kyler or Geno. Don't think I'm starting Fields with that shoulder. I don't think Fields is playing. They brought up Nate Peterman, I think. So that's normally a pretty telling sign when teams do that, as they call someone up from the practice squad. So I don't think Fields plays. There's really no reason to make him play, even unless they were in a playoff hunt, which obviously they are not. Then maybe you look at it, but I don't think he plays. So Kyler or Geno.
I'm going Kyler. Full weapons back outside of Zach Ertz. Getting Hollywood, getting DeAndre Hopkins. This is gonna be the first time all year that we've seen Hollywood and DeAndre Hopkins on the field at the same time. So yeah.
Yeah, that Chargers defense has not been good either. It's only a 1-point difference in the total with these two games. 48.5 for the Cards game, 47.5 for the Seahawks. And they actually never mind. I was reading that wrong. The Cardinals have a 3-point fewer team implied point total, but I'm still going to go with Kyler. I think with the fact that they have their bye week coming up next week, there'd be no reason for them to rush Kyler back if he weren't fully healthy. So that makes me feel better about going Kyler. JV, Rachaad White over Terry, Godwin, Olave, or Debo.
Yeah, I will.
How would you rank this?
White. Actually, I think I'd probably rank it just like they have it. Because Terry is in a really good spot in their matchup. And then I like Godwin. Like I said, I think short and intermediate passing will still be able to work. And so, yeah, I would rank it just the way they have it. I would go Rachaad White and Terry, Godwin, Olave, and Debo.
Yeah, I have White over that group as well. I think because of the weather, just like the unknowns, I think I would slide Godwin back a little bit, but like that cluster, those last 3 are like in the same tier for me. Speaking of Terry being in a good spot, Heineke or Russ?
I don't. By the way, just so we're clear, Justin Fields has been ruled out. He's not playing, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Like we already assumed that, but
Yeah,
100% now we know he's not playing. Man, I guess I would go Russ. There's nobody else there. Like nobody. Like is Trevor Lawrence sitting out there? He's coming off bye. I'd rather play him. Probably even rather play Andy Dalton than either one of those. Their Carr. Hell, I'd probably even rather. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, all those guys I'd rather play. But if I had to choose, I'd go Russ.
oh my God. I think I'd go Heineke. Like Russ has just not been good this year. But yeah, Jacob, let us know if you have any other options. And I I'm looking at the implied totals and where these lines opened up. I genuinely can't believe this Bears Jets game opened up at 48. Like, even if you thought Fields was going to be healthy, that is way too high. Obviously, that has been hammered down almost 10 points to 38.5. But I must have missed that earlier in the week. I can't believe that game opened up at 48. That is wild. Joe, we need two here. Waddle, DK, Rachaad White. Man, this is tough. I think you got to put in White just because of the projected volume. I know they activated Gio Bernard ahead of this game, but I don't think he factors in too much. And then I'll go. I'm gonna go DK.
I agree. Waddle's kind of boomer bust, in terms of where he grades out, and so he has a lot of not good games, but he has a lot of he's finished wide receiver 3, 4, and 7, but then from there it's wide receiver 20, 28, 60, 76, 14, 26, and 38. So he's very boomer bust, and this game, like I said, doesn't really project as much of a back and forth affair, and so I would just go with DK Metcalf.
Would you put Waddle over Kamara? Because I would. So if this is a case where we can just put Rachaad White in, assuming that you have Kamara as like your RB1 or RB2, I'd put Rachaad over Kamara, and then I would start Waddle and DK over Kamara in the flex.
Yeah, you're probably right. It just makes me so nervous to ever sit Alvin Kamara because
I know
his just massive ceiling that he has. But you're right. I mean, for the most part this year, he only has 2 games all year where he's been 2 games all year, or 3 games all year that he's been an RB1. Other than that, it's been more often than not that he's been just bad.
Third, got to play a wide receiver and a flex. We need Kirk, Godwin, or Gibson.
I'm gonna go Kirk and Gibson.
I think you're right.
I mean, I hate using it as a crutch. Keep going back to it, But if it wasn't for this weather, like I would probably feel better about it. But Antonio Gibson has low key been pretty solid for the most part this year. Like he hasn't really killed you. He's been a guy that's at least gotten you 12, 13, but then he has the upside to get you up to into the 20s. Especially with J.D. McKissick out, and it starts to look like they're really leaning more on him than they are Brian Robinson. Thankfully, because that's what they should be doing. Because Brian Robinson has been utterly terrible. And it is a good matchup against the Falcons. So I would just go Antonio Gibson here because he's going to be a player that's probably going to see 20 touches today.
I agree, but I will be paying closer attention to because it seems like the weather could be a little bit up in the air. So if we get better news about the weather before the game kicks off, I would slide Godwin over Gibson. But it kind of seems like like I've said before, just Google Roto Grinders NFL weather. They have an entire page dedicated to this. I'll read this off again. Scattered showers around. Models early this morning are indicating it could be late arriving. We'll need pregame radar to know for sure. Winds will be breezy, sustained 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusts over 25, especially gusty if/when the rain moves in. So it seems like the rain is going to be the thing to watch here in terms of the gusts. I will say, just from being at a Cleveland game, whenever that wind picks up, man, they have Lake Erie right there. Whenever that wind picks up, it is no joke. We went, it was like negative wind chill with the wind. It was negative degrees with the wind chill. It was wild how crazy that wind just comes in, because they have the part that's open looks right out at Lake Erie. So whenever that starts swirling in, it's no joke. AJ, Pacheco, Williams, J-Rob in place of Mixon must win in a tough matchup. Man,
I'm gonna go Pacheco here.
Just with the scoring upside.
Yeah, I mean James Robinson. He only played 25% of the snaps last week in a really close game. I mean, he's just not playing that much. I know the weather kind of profiles maybe is a better spot, but I just think Pacheco is a safer option. So I'm gonna go with the player on the best offense.
Yeah, I think it's a tiebreaker. I think Williams is interesting in a PPR league just because you're expecting them to be playing from behind. I don't know if it's still the case, but I know earlier in the year the Chiefs were giving up points to running backs, but a lot of that was coming from the passing game. And Williams obviously projects as the pass catching back here for the Rams, but I don't want to get cute. I'm going to go Pacheco here. Like you said, best offense. Hopefully they get in some goal line situations and Pacheco can punch one in. Debo or Olave?
I'm gonna go Olave.
I think Olave is safer. I get Olave as well. Another Monty or Michael Carter question. We are on Michael Carter for this one. Hollywood, Watson, or DJ Moore? I'm going Hollywood.
Yeah, I think I agree.
So the best available here for Mike in this guillotine league, I'm going to scroll up to see. So he currently has Lamb, Evans, and Cooper. Best available is Kirk, Juju, Debo, Ayuk, Boyd. Are you playing any of them over Evans? Because that's who we said earlier.
I think Kirk would be the one that you look at the closest at, in my opinion, with these options. And you'd have to drop Mike Evans, right? Not the way that would work.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Man, that is such a thin bench. There has to be somebody on the bench, right? There's no way you just have a starting lineup. There has to be somebody else you can bench. So what was the final call there? You going Kirk over Evans or no?
I think I would. Yeah, I probably would. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Mike, I think the rest of your lineup is good enough that like you can take that chance. Wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. Boyd, Samuel, Campbell, Mooney, Carter, Landry. I'm going to go Boyd and Campbell.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go. Niners or Ravens?
Go Niners.
Go Niners too. Juan has a flex question. Gibson, Connor, or Jawan?
I'm going to go James Conner.
Going Connor as well. E.T. Hey, TFA fam. Dobbins still worth a bench stash or call it quits. Also, Kyron Williams or pair Eli Mitchell with CMC. I mean, I think it depends on who you'd be picking up. I can't imagine if Dobbins is healthy, I can't imagine that there's anyone sitting out there that has higher upside than Dobbins. So I'd probably still hold him. And then I know Hunt has been bad this year. But I think I'm going to go Hunt over Kyron Williams. And I'd play Kyron over Eli.
Yeah, I don't mind that. And I think I would still hold Dobbins. It sounds like he's eligible to return now from IR. And the last couple of weeks, I think it was 2 weeks ago, John Harbaugh said that everything went well with the surgery and he should be back sooner rather than later. So yeah, I think I would still want to hold J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah. Monty or White. This is going to be Rachaad White. Need one for RB2. Pacheco, Najee, or Algier.
I'm going to go Najee. Mainly because of his usage in the passing game.
Yeah. Najee for me as well. JV back at it. Njoku, Everett, Dulcich, or Moreau in a full PPR.
I'm going to go Moreau. Or, no, Everett there too.
Cardinals giving up the most points per game to tight ends.
Yeah, I'm going to go Gerald Everett.
They have given up some big games. 26 to Kelsey, 17 to Waller, 10 to Higbee, 17 to Goddard, 10 to Noah Fant, 20 to Juwan Johnson, 14 to Noah Fant, and then 15 to Higbee, and then 24 to Kittle. Cubanito, full PPR on the flex, ETN, McLaurin, or White.
I'm going to go with Rachaad White, man. Rachaad White's going to
end up. Seems to be that guy every week, but he's just in such a great spot.
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, Cleveland is terrible against the run. They are right down there with some of the worst run defenses in the league. They're 32nd in rush DVOA, 25th in pass DVOA. They'll have the second most fantasy points. 2 running backs, the 6th most rushing yards, and tied for the most rushing touchdowns on the year. So, I mean, Rachaad White is in a great spot. I know that, like you talked about Gio Bernard being activated, but with this just kind of projected game script, the way this game's going to play, it seems like it's a much more of a Rachaad White type of game. Yeah, and him, he's also a really good pass catcher in his own right anyway, so he could still see usage from there. So, yeah, it's really hard to consider sitting Rachaad White in that situation.
EZ. Full PPR, we need 2 between Wilson, White, Godwin, and Kamara. Just locking in the first 2.
Yeah.
Chad Boyer, full PPR. Who do I start as my RB2? Monty or CPAT?
This one I'm going to go Monty. It's all about projected volume because both of them are in really bad spots. Both of them,
Yeah.
Washington and the Jets, are good run defenses. But Cordero Patterson's only getting like 30, 40% of the snaps. Dave Montgomery with no Khalil Herbert is going to see 70, 80, even 90% of the snaps in this game. So
I wish CPAT were being used more in the pass game.
right.
He's not been used a ton in the pass game either. This game should be a game where he is used. No Kyle Pitts. So you're looking at London and Zacchaeus. So I would think this could be a game, but
Yeah, it's just he's averaging 1.6 targets per game. He hasn't seen more than
so
two.
weird.
I know, and I don't get it either. Like he hasn't seen more than 2 targets at a game since week 1, where he saw 5,
God.
and he's not even running routes. I mean, 9, 6, 6, 9, and 7 for him as well. So he's just not. He's an absolute zero in the passing game.
Yeah. Kyle, Samuel, Lazard, or Mooney at the flex.
I'm gonna go Lazard here.
It's definitely not Mooney.
Yeah.
I do not like Lazard's matchup, but I think he sees more targets. So I lean Lazard as well, but I'm not a fan of that matchup. Lupe, no, not worried about the calf injury. I mean, you never like seeing that late pop up on a Friday coming in with the limited practice, but at least he was limited and wasn't a DNP. And it seems like by all accounts that unless he like suffers some kind of setback, he's going to be good to go. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely possible. I think he was in the spot where he had James Conner, right? Isn't that the one? I believe.
I cannot remember.
Here, I'll look. That's right.
I'll scroll up if you want to get the.
Yeah, or it was Najee or Jacobs. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, you're still going to know either way because I mean, obviously Najee doesn't play until tonight or Monday. Excuse me. So I would wait and see kind of what the pregame reports look like. If there's anything about being limited, or it's certainly possible he could get ruled out, but I don't think it's a high likelihood at this point. But you're in a great spot because you have Najee sitting there, so you can always pivot to somebody else. It's not like you only have a player that play at noon and 3. So if things change, I don't know if you have Twitter or whatever, go on there, search Josh Jacobs, see what the news or report sounds like it's coming out about him about that time. And if it sounds negative, I would pivot over to Najee.
Mike, appreciate the super chat. A 4 bench. Whew. That is rough. Man. That makes it even more interesting for obviously for the start sit decisions being mixed in with the guillotine league as well. Really interesting. With Fields being ruled out, do I go Jets or Dolphins? I think I would just go Jets here. The Dolphins haven't been. I don't think they've been doing well in terms of like sacks or turnovers. Let me see here. Yeah, Miami only has 8 turnovers on the year. That is the 3rd fewest. And then in terms of sacks, I know they got Chubb, obviously, so that definitely helps. But even in terms of sacks, they only have 20 on the year, and that is one of the lower in the league as well. Just for reference, the Raiders have the fewest at 13. Pressure rate for Miami, they're not generating a ton of pressure either. Looks like they are in the bottom half of the league in terms of pressure rate as well. So I'm still going to go the Jets here.
Yeah, I agree.
Fields with a drop For me, is what you said, Cody. Got Kyler Watson coming back next week. I probably don't want to just outright drop Fields.
Yeah, it's just a tough spot because I don't really know what they're going to do with it. Because it's also entirely possible they shut him down for the rest of the year. I mean, they're 3-8, or no, I think they're worse than that, or maybe they are 3-8. They're terrible right now in terms of the record. They're not going anywhere, right? And really, the best thing they could do is just keep this going, right? Because then you're almost guaranteed you're probably gonna have a top 2 or 3 pick. It gives you a lot of flexibility, which you could do. Obviously, they're not gonna need a quarterback for next year, but they could draft the top left tackle if they want to at that point. You could trade back and pick up more picks, which is what they probably should do to add more weapons around Justin Fields. It's also crazy that the Bears are going to have it's like a ridiculous amount of cap space. It's like 140 million or something crazy. It's like one of the highest available cap we've ever seen for a team. I mean, they've just completely gutted this team, and so they're going to have a ton of money to spend. They're going to have a lot of draft picks. So, yeah. So it seems like it would be more advantageous. So I don't hate it, but it's tough because how good he's been. Right. But you still have Kyler, so it's not like you have some other really bad quarterback, and then getting Watson back as well. We'll see what he's going to look like too. So I think you could if you had to.
So I just looked. The Bears have 116 million in cap space for 23, and that is almost double the next closest team, which is the Falcons at 66 million. I just got really excited because we're going to have a lot of off-season content here as well. Probably do another NFL mock draft, like we've done the past 2 years with the first round. We've done that with Tom and Robbie the past 2 years. Gonna have a lot of dynasty rookie stuff coming out as well. So, Kev, with you talking about that's immediately where my mind went. Was like, oh man, they trade back. What do they do? Super excited to get into that.
Yeah, and especially with how good this draft class is going to be. We'll still have to wait and see make sure everybody comes out. But man, this draft class looks really, really, really good.
That definitely makes it tougher in a super flex. So no, you probably don't have Trevor Lawrence to go out there and pick up. Manuel rocking with us. Appreciate you. Love seeing you come through. We need 2 in a flex and a half PPR. 8-3 on the year. We're looking at Connor, P. Ryan, Palmer, Hollywood, and Njoku or Everett. So that'll be Everett for us at tight end. And then we need 2. I'm going to go, oh man, in a half PPR, Connor.
I'm going to go Connor and Palmer.
Yeah. I really like Hollywood today, but Connor and Palmer for me. Steelers or Ravens? I'm going to go Steelers.
Yeah, I agree.
Fantasy Dowg. Good to see you in here. 15th like. Appreciate you. Hit us with a like and a sub if you have yet to do so. Got the Taysom Hill call here from FD. Good morning to you, JT. Need 2 in a standard. White, Pierce, or Lockett.
Oh man,
still going White and Lockett. I still think even without the touchdown, Lockett probably has the higher ceiling today than Pierce.
Probably right. But in a standard, I almost always give the edge to the running back.
I think it's really hard to do that today in this matchup.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree. I guess I'll go with you. I don't know. I hate sitting, especially, in this, because I still view Lockett as kind of the wide receiver 2 in that team. And so it could kind of go either direction with him. And especially with Ken Walker, there's a lot of different directions that game could go still in the way that game plays out, where Pierce is kind of locked in as kind of the guy in the backfield. So, Rachaad White's a lock, and then it's tough between Pierce and Lockett. But I'd probably, I guess I could agree with you on that.
Man, I did not realize that Lockett has not been putting up a ton of receiving yards at all.
Right. It's just the matchup is so good. I mean, against the Raiders defense, that's just been dreadful. So it makes it
I guess
tough.
I know he's always been doing well in terms of fantasy points, but I guess I was just completely unaware. Over the last 5 weeks, he does not have over 70 receiving yards, and he hasn't had over 70 receiving yards since week 5. I mean, I'm still going Lockett, but I guess I'm just a little surprised to see that he does have a touchdown in 3 straight games, and he scored 2 in week 5. Still going Lockett, but I was just a little surprised to see that.
Yeah.
The Bears are oh my God. The Bears are starting Nathan Peterman after Trevor Siemian suffered an injury in pregame warmups. Oh my Lord. Dog. Love you too. TSB. Howdy. Happy Sunday. Need a flex full PPR. CPAT or Rashad White. That is going to be Rashad White for the both of us. Good luck to you. Appreciate the kind words. Keeping it 100. CVB, Mariota Carr, or Jimmy G?
I'm going to go Jimmy G here.
Jimmy G for me as well. Guy Ken. We need one running back and a flex here between ETN, Connor. Is that Pickens, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Sutton, Allen, and Monty. Oh, boy.
I think I'm going to go first two here. ETN and James Conner.
Man, I want to get Keenan in.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose, like if you had to choose between the two of them, I don't mind that. Like if you'd rather go the wide receiver route and go Connor and Allen, I don't mind that at all. A little mini stack, a little correlation in your season long lineup. But it's just tough to trust or it's tough to sit Travis Etienne and Keenan Allen. With the injury stuff and everything else, he was limited last week in terms of snaps and the way they utilized him. But I still think this is a really good matchup for Keenan Allen. So I do like Keenan Allen quite a bit. It's between those three to me in this scenario. But hopefully maybe they use Travis Etienne a little bit more in the passing game and stuff like that. So that's why I slightly lean towards him. But I get it. Really good call.
It's really close. I'm going to go Connor and Keenan. Especially if it's full PPR, I'm going to go Connor and Keenan. JB, Christian Watson, or DPJ?
This is Watson.
I'm going to go Watson there as well. AO coming through the super chat. Appreciate you. Godwin or White?
I'm going to go White.
Rashad White, Foreman, or Gus?
This is Foreman. This is actually I think a low-key really good matchup for Deontay Foreman. It feels very similar because the games he's done the best in have been the ones, obviously they've had a positive game script. And I feel like they can have that today against the Broncos. And so, I mean, this could be a 25-plus carry game for Deontay Foreman. And so I like Deontay Foreman a lot.
I'm going to go Gus. I get what you're saying, but I also feel like they're not going to bring Gus back with, Kenyon Drake has been up and down while Gus has been out. We saw the down week last week, but I don't think there's any reason for them to bring him back if he's not, at least 80%. So Jags are giving up the 10th most fantasy points per game to running backs. including 7 touchdowns on the ground, over 800 yards rushing. So I'm going to go Gush just because I like that matchup a little bit more. And then Connor or White.
Rachaad White.
We do really like Connor, but giving the edge to Rachaad White. DM. Monty, Pierce, Devonta Smith. I'm going Devonta Smith.
Yeah, I agree.
Everett or Juwan Johnson?
Everett.
I'm going to go Juwan Johnson. Just feel like with Keenan Allen playing, with Palmer, I think Everett ends up seeing more targets. I mean, Juwan ends up seeing more targets. Question for next week. Are we trusting Watson against Houston, or do I actually keep Geno? Kyler has a bye. Who do they play? I'm trying to see who the Seahawks have. So the Seahawks will have the Rams in week 13.
Yeah, I think I'd rather play Watson. Revenge narrative. First game back.
And it's shit like that to make people believe that the NFL is rigged, right? For like, oh, we'll give you 12 games. All right, cool. When do I come back? Houston. At Houston. Super C and B. RB2 and a flex. Pittman, Olave, Carter, Monty.
So the RB2 is going to be Michael Carter. And I'm going to flex Pittman.
Samesies. J2. Nice. Chubb at the flex or AJ Brown?
I think I'm going to stick with Chubb.
We're gonna go AJ Brown. Sorry, we weren't much help there, Jay. Even with the Bucks defense being down this year, I still think they're like a bottom 5 team in terms of points given up to running backs. And if Tampa Bay is able just to kind of like stack the box here, I'm gonna go AJ Brown. Jim, PPR start 1, DJ Moore, Lazard, Demarcus Robinson.
I'm going to go DJ Moore.
I'm going to go Lazard.
I feel like I've been chasing DJ Moore all year, but with Sam Darnold,
sooner or later you'll be right.
I mean, that's the last time he actually played. I mean, consistently well was with Sam Darnold. So, yeah, just gonna hope it continues.
It's just not a great matchup for him at all.
It's not a great matchup. But it's also really not a great matchup for Lazard either. Obviously, quarterback situation is obviously better. Aaron Rodgers to Sam Darnold, but I think DJ Moore. I slightly lean towards him.
The Gurus, Rachaad White, Aaron Jones, or AJ Brown at the flex. Assuming it's going to be another Rachaad White.
On that one, I'm going to go AJ Brown.
Okay. I'm still going to go Rachaad White there. Santana, Sutton or Boyd this week?
I'm going to go Sutton.
I'm going Boyd. Russ is just such a turd. Finn Strom, Debo or Evans?
I think I'm going to go Debo here.
I'm going to go Debo as well. Brandon coming through over on Facebook. Gibson or Aaron Jones this week?
Aaron Jones.
It shouldn't be this close, but it is. Aaron Jones is like Alvin Kamara, right? Like you're never want to sit him because he has that 3 touchdown upside. So I'm gonna go Aaron Jones. CB need a flex and a PPR. Lockett, Chubb, Pierce. I'm going Lockett. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go Chubb. I'm going Chubb. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree.
JB over on FB. Murray or Monty?
I'm going to go Murray.
God. Yep, I agree. CMB is rephrasing. We need an RB2, a wide receiver 2, and a flex out of this group.
So Michael Pittman, or excuse me, Michael Carter as the RB2. And then I'm going to go with, let's see. Then I'm going to go with Pittman. And I'm going to go with Olave.
I'm going to go Evans over Olave. And I agree with you on the other two. Unless CMB, like before, let's say 20 minutes from now, 25 minutes from now, we get worse news on the weather. Because it doesn't seem great right now, but it also seems like it's going to be like gusts. They're going to be the biggest thing. The sustained winds don't seem to be awful. It's 10 to 15, gust over 25. Unless we get worse news on the weather, I'm still going to stick with Evans here over Olave. Trey, full PPR, we need to bench one. ETN, Jeff Wilson, or Rachaad White?
I'm going to go Jeff Wilson.
To bench?
Oh, sorry. I thought it was start. Bench one, I'm going to bench ETN.
I agree. You're not benching CMC for ETN, are you?
No.
Okay.
I hate sitting ETN too, but
I know. Out of that group, though, with the spots that they're in, that's the call for sure. Crip, we need an RB2, CPAT or Gus Edwards?
CPAT.
God. I want to say Gus Edwards, but I think you, in a full PPR, I think you put in CPAT and just hope and pray he gets targets. He's not going to do much on the ground in this matchup. Gus Edwards coming back from this injury. Kenyon Drake, obviously Lamar doing his thing as well. God. Just that emoji is very apt and called for, Crip. God. I'm going to agree and go CPAT, but I don't feel great about it. Jimmy G or Kyler. I'm going to go Kyler there. Ayuk or P. Ryan at the flex. That is going to be Ayuk. Another JB on FB. Pacheco or Cooper versus Tampa.
I'm gonna go.
I'm going to go Cooper.
Yeah, I think you still have to go Cooper here. I don't know. I was trying to search to see if I can find anything about Cleveland. It's not raining or anything currently there. So I mean, it doesn't look terrible. It's just going to depend on when this weather shows up. So yeah, I'm going to ride with Cooper.
Boyd or Keenan Allen. That's going to be Keenan Allen. Interesting. It's almost like James Robinson is a motherfucking Jag.
Well, you're right. He was a Jag. He was.
Jimmy G or Carr, who's more likely to get 20 points? Seahawks secondary has actually been pretty good.
I still think Derek Carr is more likely to get 20 points just because of I think the way that game could play out, the game scripts and everything, it's possible the Saints could push the 49ers to have to throw the ball more, but it doesn't feel as likely. So I would slightly lean toward Derek Carr. I think they're both kind of in similar spots.
Yeah. I think Jimmy G is definitely your safer option. Carr more volatile. But I think you're right. Godwin or Burks. I'm going to go Godwin there. Like, I really want to just be able to say Burks. I really do, but it's just really hard to trust that passing offense. Like, this is something I would want to see for 2+ weeks before I just say, like, Burks is a plugged in, wide receiver 3 with, wide receiver 1 upside. Kev, like you were mentioning earlier, in terms of the weather with Godwin, he is the more underneath option. So I'm going to go Godwin here over Burks.
Yeah, I just keep trying to find. Now I'm starting to see a lot of It's just sunny and beautiful looking in Cleveland right now. So, so yeah, I don't know. Yep.
Swamp Nola, full PPR, Jones or Carter?
I'm going to go Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones for me as well. Boyd or Marquise Brown? I'm going Hollywood.
Yeah, I agree.
Soto, this is my long hair don't care look. This is my gonna have to get it. Oh my god, looks like a ramp right now. What?
I know. Is that the side you slept on?
No, just the side. It's just not. My lip gloss is popping. My lip gloss is cool. Just the side that's not just staying down for some reason. Yeah, it's just I need a cut, so I'm just letting it air out before I get a cut. So that's what's up with it. Good morning.
Maybe you're going with like your like Marv look from like. Is that what your guy does that for Marv as on Halloween?
Yeah, my Christmas Halloween outfit is going straight Marv.
Yeah,
it's gonna have to get the tar and the thumbtacks and the iron as well. NASCAR Fantasy Live. Watson, DPJ, or DJ Moore?
Watson.
Watson for me as well. Looks like that is it. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. If you have any other questions, I will go ahead and drop the Discord link in here right now. We'll be going live tonight for the first look at Week 13 waivers. We do get back to the bye weeks next week as well, so we will have all of that. Oh, okay.
And just really, Xenon, that is Latavius. That is Gino over Russ all day, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk could skate on the hair of Cody.
I used to skate. I went through a went through a pretty big like punk skater phase from like 8th grade all the way through like 10th, 11th grade.
So he's listened to a lot of like Sum 41 and Good Charlotte and
No, Poser, you fucking kidding me? Some Good Charlotte? Absolutely. I was going to like underground like punk shows, like local music, going to the skate park. I bought a zip up hoodie and then I would like stitch like band patches and like buttons on, like I had like my backpack. I would put like I had like stop racism sticker on my back. Like I was heavy into it. I wasn't going to PacSun. I wasn't going to Hot Topic. It wasn't on that Poser shit.
Oh, well. This is Sutton, ET, for sure, for both of us. This is going to be Rashad White, and it's not particularly close.
Yep.
Same thing here. Rashad White, NASCAR
Yep.
Fantasy Live. And then Hayden, Aaron Jones, Michael Carter, Rashad White, full PPR. I think this is going to be Rashad White for the both of us. And we'll see how this works. Hopefully tonight we come on and we're like, yep, Rashad White crushed it and did great because everybody's playing Rashad White. And if not, we apologize. So spot is excellent. Yes, it's Rashad White over Latavius Murray all day, and it's not even close. But we'll see. Process over results. The process is definitely there. Yeah, it's Cortland Sutton. Yeah. So,
Whoops.
Yeah, White or Sanders. This is White. Again, we're all going down with Rashad White this week. I'm playing a lot of in DFS. Like we're all together in this. We're all holding hands. We're all got a prayer circle going on for Rashad White to come through for us. And this is Jeff Wilson.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we will be back tonight for the week 13 waivers. Hopefully there's not a lot of injuries. Hopefully it's pretty light. We'll see what happens. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Hopefully everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving. We will be back again tonight, like I said, for sure.
Palmer Cripp. And then Mac Hollins, Spubsy.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, Palmer and agree. And then Evans Cooper. Man. Terry, put in reverse. This is Christian Kirk. Yeah. TN, we're all in. We're pushing our chips all in. Let's go Rashad White. It's Rashad White week. Let's hopefully this works out. Oh, Lord. I'm going to go Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Or you know what? I'm going to go Kenny Pickett. Fuck it.
I'm going to go Kenny Pickett too.
Let's ride with Kenny Pickett. And
what could go wrong?
Yeah. So keep it locked in here. We'll be back again in a very short period of time, 7 or 8, 9 hours from now, something like that. Hope everybody has a good week 12. Let's get them dubs this week. We're only a few more weeks away from the fantasy playoffs. We appreciate all the support, everybody rocking with us. Have a good day. We'll be back in tonight. Bye-bye.